Yep, still don't have a name for this. Let's go with the news. This week we got a bit of interesting news for each of the major 3 console manufacturers right now, and a couple game reveals that are a little surprising and also a little weird. For Nintendo, we have both some good and bad news. Let's go ahead and get the bad news out of the way. It's not entirely that awful. It's more of just a clarification on something that people already know is going on. Obviously, it has been very difficult to get a Switch lately, and now it looks like part of the reason for that is because some dedicated resellers are making use of bots that are snatching up every single Switch as soon as it shows up on digital markets. This is making it so that these systems are immediately being sold to people that are not planning on using them specifically, and instead intend to resell them for those price points we've been seeing lately of $500 or $600 on eBay, which is extremely infuriating, especially considering how many people want to pick up a system right now for some of the new releases that have been coming out, and the fact that, again, a lot of us are trapped inside and need new things to do. A fun side effect of this entire situation, by the way, is that some of the more tech-savvy people out there that are interested in grabbing a Switch have now resorted to a slightly more interesting method of buying individual parts to build their own Switches. This is a way that people are looking to try and punish those that are trying to resell and not reward them by buying them, and instead are just buying up used broken Switches and replacing a few key parts, or just building one from scratch by buying individual piece-by-piece things. There's even whole guides online that you can find for doing this. If you've been looking to buy a Switch, obviously whether or not this is a good idea for you depends on how tech-savvy you are, or if you know someone that can do this for you, but I think it just really shows how high the demand is right now and how much resellers are really messing people over that they're actually going to this full extent of making them themselves. There's already all kinds of unfounded rumors circulating of how this is pointing towards the fact that we are getting a Switch Pro very soon, or at least early next year. It's a lot of just kind of gossip and speculation right now. As I've said before, I do think there is some kind of Switch Pro coming out in the future. Whether or not this is a sign of that happening or sooner than we thought, I think that's a little more up for debate. What the update does bring us for sure, though, are some great new features that we've been waiting on for a little while, including the ability to remap buttons on Joy-Cons and Switch Pro controllers. You cannot use it yet for third-party controllers, sadly. It is only the major official Nintendo options for now, and the ability to move certain data between your Switch's internal memory and an SD card. This is limited in that you still cannot move save data to an SD card. Those are permanently locked on the Nintendo's own hard drive, but as far as game data or update stuff goes, a lot of that can now be moved between them if you find that to be a useful thing that you need to do. Let's talk about Xbox. Now, they actually have 2 bits of news that came out over the past week that would make you almost think that they don't have a brand new next-generation console coming out at the end of this year, but they are both moves that honestly I think make a decent bit of sense. One of them more so than the other. First off, we have the unveiling of a new special edition Xbox One X for Cyberpunk 2077. Now, that alone, super cool concept. I love the design of it. I'm excited for that game. I think this is a great cross promotion. It's just a little awkward when you consider the fact that Cyberpunk 2077 is coming out in September, the system is coming out in June, and the Xbox Series X is more than likely coming out sometime in November or December, as long as it doesn't get pushed back. While I'm a big fan of a lot of Microsoft Special Edition systems, and this one is no exception, it's just a little bit of an awkward sales pitch, I think, for someone to go, hey, you should buy this cool limited edition system that we're only making so many of, right before we're releasing the even bigger and cooler thing. One interesting thing about this bundle that they did not announce, however, is the pricing. And the reason why that's a little more interesting than it normally would be is because of the other bit of news that Xbox had this last week, that the Xbox One X went on a temporary sale of $300 with some bundled games, which is an insane deal. And to be clear, the deal has already ended, but as we get closer and closer to the release of the Series X, I can't help but feel this is going to be an offer that's going to pop up more and more. Now, I've seen a few people question this move because it's like, well, why would you buy an Xbox One X even on price drop right now when the Series X is coming out so soon? And there's actually a couple good arguments, I think, for why you should actually go for this deal. As it stands right now, we don't know if for sure there's going to be an Xbox Series S, as a lot of people keep dubbing it the kind of cheaper version of the Series X that's been in development supposedly under the name Project Lockhart. And the Xbox Series X, while going to be extremely powerful, we don't have the actual price point yet. And if that ends up being $500-$600 and you don't want to spend that much money, especially considering the state of the economy at the moment, well, a $300 system that plays a lot of the same games starts to look a lot more tempting. And this is especially true for Xbox, because while PlayStation hasn't been completely specific about their plans for how they're going to handle the cross-generation leap, Microsoft has been very forward about the fact that they are planning on having all future releases for the Series X still support Xbox One X. Obviously, it's not going to be as beautiful as it'll be on the Series X, and not all games are going to run the exact same, but as long as they're able to run in the first place, that's a pretty compelling argument to someone for why they shouldn't buy the next-gen new system right away and instead save their money and buy the next best thing for $300. Really, in a sense, it's almost as if the Xbox One X is currently the kind of Series S concept that a lot of people are thinking is coming out sometime. Personally, I think it's not a bad idea to buy one of these systems while they're on such sale, but I think the best option is to wait just a little bit longer and see if we get any kind of price confirmation on the Series X, because once we know the price of the Series X, that much better informs whether or not you want to wait up and save that much money, or if you'd rather just spend $300 now and get the current system. There is also, of course, the possibility they could announce Series S at some point, but honestly, at this point, I'm pretty sure that's not going to be a holiday release. It's not going to be simultaneous with Series X. That's very likely going to be a next year kind of thing, if it is in fact real at all, because while everyone keeps talking about it, there has still been zero hard evidence that it is for sure happening. For PlayStation news, we don't actually have anything in the form of an official announcement or anything, but there was a supposed leak, which is looking like it might not be real, but I think it's worth talking about for a couple of reasons, and that was the supposed leak of a number of PS4 exclusives coming to PC. The origin of this rumor comes from Amazon France, where supposedly there were a number of listings made for a lot of PS4 titles having a PC release date. A couple examples including stuff like Uncharted: The Nathan Drake Collection, Bloodborne, and Persona 5 Royal. Shortly after this happened, a lot of the companies involved in the games listed, like Sony and Sega, came out and said, hey, no, this is not a thing, we have not announced anything like this, these are not in the works right now, we have no further comment on the subject. And it looks as though these supposed listings did come from troll accounts. The reason why this is so interesting, though, is because it kind of points towards a general thing that people have been kind of talking about for a little while now, of whether or not PlayStation is going to open up to the PC market at any point. Microsoft has obviously been very forward and open about this. They don't really have Xbox One exclusives anymore. Any game they release for their system is getting a simultaneous PC release, and this is not something that PlayStation has really been interested in yet. There has been some kind of light talk about it before. There are some games that were previously considered exclusives that do have PC release dates in the future, like Death Stranding, and there has been light rumor of some games in development even having PC ports that'll be launching alongside them or sometime in the future, like with Last of Us Part 2. Whether or not this is a thing Sony is actually going to do, it has opened up quite a bit of a debate with a lot of people, and I think there's two very interesting stances to look at it. On the one hand, there are a lot of people that are actually kind of angry about this. They think that PlayStation exclusives should remain exclusives because that's why they bought the system. There's this kind of weird, obsessive fanboy side to the whole thing. Whereas another side of it, and honestly, I think this makes a lot of sense from a business prospect too, is because the PS4's life cycle is coming to an end and we have the new PS5 system coming out, let's open up that library to more platforms. Obviously, they're not necessarily going to bring Sony exclusives to the Switch or to the Xbox, but PC has always been kind of a neutral alternative ground that is viewed as a separate audience from console. And when you consider the fact that some of these games have already been kind of accessible via PC using PlayStation Now, actually giving them full re-releases on the platform makes a lot of sense for Sony to bring in a lot of extra last-second money. Sure, there are people out there who didn't buy a PS4 and might actually buy a PS5 and use that as a way to tap into the library, but for those people that are just never interested or never got around to buying one, adding these to the PC market is going to get a lot of additional sales for Sony. To be clear, the Amazon Fans League again looks very much like it is not a real thing, but I think it's really important to just kind of bring that debate up again as a result that maybe PlayStation is doing this, and if they're not, maybe they should think about it. As far as news goes for actual games, we got a couple reveals this last week, two of which are remakes that I think are very interesting and very different. Crysis is getting remastered and released on all the usual suspects, PC, Xbox One, PlayStation 4, but also on the Switch, which is amazing for a couple of reasons, because one, having Crysis in a handheld is awesome, and two, there have been so many revived memes regarding whether or not something can run Crysis, and it turns out the Switch is officially on that list. Another remake that was revealed this past week that I don't think anyone saw coming is that this summer, if you want to, you can dive in and finally enjoy the adventure of Chex Quest. Now, if you have no idea what I'm talking about, Chex Quest was this free-to-play, I guess? It came with a box of cereal, so it was like the bonus prize toy, whatever, but instead of a toy, it was an actual game you could install on your PC, and it was basically a Doom clone, but very kid-friendly, and at least as far as my little child brain can recall, was a lot of fun. Well, if you too have nostalgia for this game, not only can you just download the original version of it for free right now, but this summer, we're gonna get this full remade version of it that will also be free to play and include multiplayer modes. Honestly, I have no idea what to expect from this as far as whether or not it'll be actually fun for, an adult person to play, but it definitely has my curiosity. While not a new game reveal, we did also get a hard release date for Streets of Rage 4, which is actually a very, very soon date of April 30th. So not this week, but the week after. If you've been waiting on some good old-fashioned beat-em-up action, you can grab it, and that's exactly what I'm planning on doing. As far as new games coming out this week that you can look forward to, we have a lot of releases happening on the 24th. Like I mentioned last week, Trials of Mana Remake is coming to the Switch and PS4, which is some awesome old-school JRPG love if you're looking for something new to play, which we've had quite a few releases in that genre lately. We also have Naruto Shippuden Ninja Storm 4 coming to the Switch, Predator being released on the PS4, and a surprising new XCOM game called Chimera Squad coming to PC. Honestly, I think that's a pretty good lineup. There's not any kind of individual huge home run title in there, but there's a little something for everyone. So there's your news for the past week, along with a couple more games to look forward to in the very near future. As always, guys, if you want to make sure you don't miss out on any of these videos, or even just my regular accessory reviews and stuff, make sure to subscribe to the channel. You can also follow me on Twitter at Kevin Kenson. I will see you guys later.